For most actors, starring in one of the biggest film trilogies in history would become the defining achievement of their career. For Viggo Mortensen, it became something else entirely. At 67, the Oscar-nominated actor has been reflecting more openly on the people and experiences that shaped him, and one name continues to stand above the rest: Christopher Lee. While fans remember Lee as the powerful Saruman in The Lord of the Rings, Mortensen remembers him as a mentor whose quiet wisdom changed the way he looked at acting, history, and life itself. Looking back now, it's clear that some of the most important lessons Mortensen learned were never written in the script. Born on October 20th, 1958, in New York City, Viggo Peter Mortensen Jr. spent very little of his childhood in the United States. His father worked internationally, and the family lived in Venezuela, Denmark, and Argentina before eventually settling for a time in Buenos Aires. Because of those early years, Mortensen became fluent in Spanish and developed a lifelong appreciation for different cultures, languages, and history. When his parents divorced in the late 60s, Viggo returned to New York with his mother and two younger brothers. He later attended St. Lawrence University, graduating in 1980 with a degree in Spanish Studies and Politics. At that point, acting wasn't part of his plan. After college, he spent several years traveling through Europe, working odd jobs in Denmark, Spain, and England before eventually returning to New York. His entry into acting happened almost by accident. What he believed was an audition turned out to be an acting workshop. Instead of walking away, he stayed, and that unexpected decision completely changed the direction of his life. Mortensen made his film debut in 1985 with a small role in Witness, starring Harrison Ford. The part lasted only a few minutes on screen, but it opened the door to Hollywood. Throughout the rest of the 1980s, he accepted almost every opportunity he could find, regardless of the size of the role. He appeared in films like Prison in 1987, where his commitment to realism quickly became obvious. During one intense scene, he reportedly shook with so much force that he broke a chair. In another sequence, he insisted on running through freezing water wearing almost nothing because he believed pretending would make the performance less believable. The films themselves rarely became major successes, but directors began noticing something unusual. Viggo Mortensen didn't simply play characters, he disappeared into them. Throughout the late 1980s and early 1990s, he continued building an impressive resume that he appeared in The Reflecting Skin, Sean Penn's directorial debut The Indian Runner, Boiling Point, American Yakuza, and Carlito's Way alongside Al Pacino. Many of these jobs paid very little, and Mortensen later admitted that financial necessity often influenced his choices. Still, critics consistently praised his performances, wondering why an actor with so much talent remained largely unknown. By the mid-1990s, he had earned the respect of filmmakers without becoming a household name. Films like Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman, and Ridley Scott's G.I. Jane starring Demi Moore, showcased his versatility and willingness to prepare extensively for every role. For G.I. Jane, Mortensen reportedly spent months interviewing real Navy SEALs to understand military leadership and behavior. Rather than joining parts of the cast during boot camp, he intentionally remained distant because his character was supposed to be viewed with suspicion by those around him. That level of preparation became one of his trademarks. Yet despite appearing in more than 20 films, real stardom still seemed out of reach. Everything changed in 1999. Director Peter Jackson had already begun filming The Lord of the Rings when serious problems emerged with the actor originally cast as Aragorn, Stuart Townsend. After only a short time, Jackson decided the role needed someone else. Several actors were considered, including Russell Crowe, but the search eventually landed on Viggo Mortensen. At first, he almost turned the offer down. Unsure about accepting such a massive commitment, he hesitated. Then Henry changed everything. Already a passionate fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's novels, Henry urged his father to take the role. His enthusiasm convinced Mortensen to reconsider, and within days he was on a plane to New Zealand. The decision transformed his career forever. Because he joined the production so late, Mortensen had almost no rehearsal time. He arrived while filming was already underway, forcing him to discover Aragorn as the cameras rolled. Interestingly, that uncertainty actually benefited his performance. Early in the story, Aragorn is unsure of his destiny, and Mortensen's own unfamiliarity with the role added an authenticity that audiences still praise today. As filming continued, his dedication became legendary. He trained daily with swords until he became one of the production's strongest fighters. Rather than relying on lightweight props, he preferred using a real steel sword crafted by master swordsmith Peter Lyon. He practiced so frequently that local police occasionally questioned why he was walking around with a full-sized medieval weapon. His commitment also resulted in several injuries. While filming The Two Towers, Mortensen famously broke 2 toes after kicking an orc helmet. The scream heard in the finished film was completely genuine. Later, during the Battle of Helm's Deep, he chipped one of his teeth. Instead of delaying production, he briefly visited a dentist while still wearing Aragorn's costume before returning immediately to set. He also developed such a strong bond with his horse that he purchased it after filming Wrapped. He even bought another horse used by Arwen's stunt double because no one else intended to give it a home. But perhaps the most valuable experience he gained during The Lord of the Rings wasn't playing Aragorn. It was meeting Christopher Lee. By the time Lee joined the trilogy as Saruman, he was already one of Britain's most respected actors. Born in 1922, Lee had served in the Royal Air Force during the Second World War, spoke multiple languages, and was the only cast member who had personally met J.R.R. Tolkien. Away from the cameras, Lee and Mortensen often spent time discussing history, mythology, languages, and literature rather than Hollywood. Their conversations ranged from German and Spanish to Norse legends that inspired Tolkien's writing. One moment in particular left a lasting impression. While filming Saruman's death scene, Peter Jackson suggested a dramatic scream after Saruman was stabbed. Christopher Lee quietly interrupted him. Drawing on his wartime experience, Lee explained that someone stabbed from behind would not scream the way films often portray. Instead, the sound would be little more than a sudden gasp as the air left the body. Jackson immediately accepted the correction. For Mortensen, watching that exchange became one of the defining moments of his career. Christopher Lee wasn't speaking from imagination or acting technique. He was speaking from lived experience. Years later, Mortensen has described Lee as someone who carried a kind of wisdom that could never be learned in drama school. It wasn't simply about acting, it was about understanding truth well enough to recognize when fiction drifted too far from reality. After The Lord of the Rings, many expected Mortensen to spend the rest of his career making blockbuster fantasy films. Instead, he chose a completely different path. He rejected several franchise opportunities, believing many scripts lacked originality. He also declined appearing in The Hobbit because Aragorn does not appear in Tolkien's original novel, and Mortensen believed adding him simply for commercial reasons would have been dishonest. Instead, he pursued challenging dramatic roles. His collaboration with director David Cronenberg began with A History of Violence in 2005, followed by Eastern Promises in 2007, which earned Mortensen his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. Preparing for the role, he studied Russian culture, learned about prison tattoos, and immersed himself in the language. He continued that pattern with The Road in 2009, where he lost significant weight to portray a desperate father in a post-apocalyptic world. In 2016, he starred in Captain Fantastic, playing a father raising 6 children away from modern society. The emotionally powerful performance earned him his second Oscar nomination. 2 years later came Green Book. To portray Tony Lip, Mortensen gained roughly 20 pounds and adopted many of the real man's habits, including his distinctive way of eating pizza. The film won the Academy Award for Best Picture, while Mortensen received his third Oscar nomination. Outside acting, Mortensen has continued pursuing creative passions that receive far less public attention. Through Perceval Press, the publishing company he founded, he supports poetry, photography, painting, and independent writing. He is also an accomplished photographer, painter, musician, and poet. Looking back at his career today, it becomes clear that fame was never Mortensen's primary goal. Even after becoming one of Hollywood's most recognizable actors, he continued choosing projects based on artistic challenge rather than commercial success.